What's up, guys? Welcome back to Digital Dive in, the proper gaming talk show where we dive into everything gaming every single week. As promised, we're going to be giving you our very first impressions review of Dying Light 2 with your boy Sansology and SGK.
What up, guys?
So we're going to dive into everything that we experienced into this game, what we liked about, what we didn't like about, what we experienced. Maybe you guys experienced the same things, maybe not, who knows. But guys, we're going to be doing a lot more of these reviews. We're coming up with an Ollie Ollie World review next week. So now it's perfect time to hit that subscribe button and that like button and hit that bell so you can notify whenever any of these videos go live. So Dying Light 2 is a very interesting game that, in my opinion, falls into what has been going on with a lot of games lately, where it just needed more time in the oven. But overall, I like it. I really do like it. It's a good game. Very well made. Tons of fun to play.
Yeah.
I mean, just from like the first, like my overall first impressions, it's a very fun game. It's more Dying Light, and I'm totally okay with that.
Considering the development hell that it's been in over the last 3 years, I think it came out as well as it could have. I mean, you had major people leaving the project, art directors, concept directors, and it kind of changed the scope of what happened. I was being very impressed if the biggest thing was to have the city change as you go along. So as long as that's there, I would say 8, and it's done well. I would say 8+. My initial thoughts, the first thing I noticed with the game is when you come into the game, it gives you a sense of tranquility and peace. It brings you in, and this guy that's trying to help you on your journey, the first thing you do is you crack a beer with him and enjoy the last few human sentiments, human, interactions.
In a dying world,
Yeah, post-apocalyptic that humans had. And even when you come into the first area you come into, it's a fucking Y2K party.
Seriously.
Like, woo,
end of the world party. It does a good job at setting the mood, setting the feel for the rest of the game going forward. It's just a sense of like doom and hopelessness almost, but there's also a little bit of hope in there as well. It's not complete hopelessness. There's a little light, like the little hope for humanity left.
The Dying Light. I love that, and it made the slow pull into the depths of hell. It made it harder. I think one thing that they really tried to do with this game is double down on the meaning in all your actions, how heavy everything feels, how heavy everything is, and it makes the story heavier and hit harder. I think that's one of the things that they were really trying to do, and it really shows with the initial cutscenes, the initial gameplay when you first step into the world. Definitely.
Yeah, for sure. I agree 100%. There's a lot that this game does better than the first game, and there's a lot that either hasn't changed a whole lot or doesn't just get the feel that the first game gave. Like the first game, in my opinion, is one of the best zombie games ever made. It was a huge surprise, came out of nowhere, hit the ground running, and just blew everyone away. This game so far does a good job at capitalizing on what the first game did, but doesn't quite have the same pull or the same feel that the first game did. It's very good for what it is. I wanted to touch on the gameplay first because the gameplay is what is going to keep most people in this game. The story is there, same issue that the first game had. The story is there, not the real focal point of the game. The real focal point is the world, the gameplay, and just having fun in Villador.
I would say the story, to me personally, is just as important. I'll say more to that as we go on the review. I have to have a reason to be having this fun.
Oh, for sure. I mean, that's the thing though. In the first game, like I didn't really like the story meant literally nothing to me. Right? It was cool, but for most of the game, I was just running around. The only reason I did the story was to progress. I was just running around the world, grabbing collectibles, finding new weapons, blueprints, crafting, killing zombies, free running across rooftops. It was nuts.
I was definitely interested in this, especially when the game makes you interested in the side stories as well. That's an interesting game. Typically, I don't care about side stories, and then the first one, I was actually like, "Yo, I actually want to help the user. Help me, help me!"
Yeah. The little interactions. And this game also keeps those random interactions where you can save survivors. Sorry, and there's like bandits that you can chase down and get special things from, which are really cool. Honestly, the best way to do that is just, if you have any throwing knives, once they start to climb, just toss one out and they fall and die. So that's really easy. But yeah, in terms of the parkour is the main focus of Dying Light. Like, that is the crux of Dying Light. And they do a really good job at making it flow well, making it work, if not a little bit floaty here and there, and a little bit magnetic.
Yeah.
Because like, especially when you're like leaping between rooftops, sometimes like you definitely never gonna miss, and all of a sudden, zoink, you're like magnet to the ledge. It's just like, oh, I made it, cool, yay!
I mean, I don't typically care for floating games, and this might be because of the FOV, but like there are some points where I couldn't tell what I was going to grab, or if I was even going to make the grab, and sometimes I did, sometimes I didn't. But I can say that overall, it does feel a little bit more connected. Like the way how often you connect and how you connect with the environments that you're parkouring does feel better. It does feel a lot smoother. So I'm not going to say that it does. I'm not going to say it felt better in the first one, but I will say that I think everything that they set, you could tell that they worked on this game and truly tried to progress it. And I think they definitely hit some points really, really well. I think the floatiness is something you just have to. It's not something that everybody might like, but something you get used to and kind of just grow with. As the game, especially when you start unlocking more parkour moves and such.
Yeah, I do think the first game gave you more just starting off than this game does. This game really starts off with the bare minimum and you have to upgrade up. And actually, the progression is something that is very nice. I love the progression system in this game, but it takes forever. Like, it takes a very long time to upgrade your parkour and your combat. So you really have to, like, not so much grind, because you're just running around and you get points just for doing different moves and doing different things and grabs and basic combat. You get points for doing all that. That's very weird. I don't really understand the whole number system to it, but for the most part it works. And then you get bonuses for certain things, especially running around at night. But in terms of the parkour in general, I think it's very good. Like you said, when you connect, you feel it. If not, it seems a little bit, you definitely would have missed that jump. But I do like that there are more man-made structures in the game. One thing I kind of wish that would have been really cool, and they kind of like set it up too in the game, but then certain things, it's the whole like how certain man-made objects move and then other ones just don't. Like you have like those like giant steel beams that like will float in the air, like when you jump on one, they'll like raise, then you run over. But then the bridges are just stable, like the rope bridges. Like they don't move at all. It'll be so freaking cool if like you had to like manage that rope bridge like swaying or something like that. That would be dope. A lot of programming behind that. But it would have been cool.
I mean, I don't know, because I think that would just be annoying. Where it's like
it'd be more realistic though. It'd be way more realistic.
It's one of those things where realism sounds great on paper, but it's only fun up to a limit. You know? So it's like if you're already dealing with floaty controls and trying to get balance on on the parkour that's there, I think it would have just been a little bit too much.
Yeah. Now the floatiness isn't as bad as like some games like Horizon Zero Dawn, for example. That game, like we jumped out, that was very, very floaty. But that was an action game more than anything else. This game, it is like a guided fall almost. It's not so much floaty as like you just have more control in the air. But in terms of that, I don't really mind. The one thing that's kind of weird is like whenever there's like a slight incline, like there's on the roofs, there's like a little slope. And every single time you hit one, you slide down it. And that makes sense. But then when you're standing on like levels on the side of buildings, they have like a slight incline, and those you just slide down. And it's like, it's not really nothing. It's just like that. It's not like the rooftops are like super incline. This is like a slight incline, and backing up, you're like sliding and shit. I'm just like, what the hell? It's literally like a little tiny ramp, and you're like fumbling on it. It's so annoying and very weird. That might get fixed later on, but I'm not really sure. Stealth is another thing in terms of movement in general. Stealth it's okay. It works if you're just like, walking forward. But when you like try to strafe, it is blocky and rough. And it's like he doesn't want to move really. It's like unnatural for him, which doesn't make sense. And hiding is another thing that is just broken. Not broken, but like I don't know. They didn't put a whole lot of focus into the hiding aspect of this game.
Yeah, because you're supposed to be running.
Well, yeah. But there's some places that you have to hide. And I mean, getting underneath tables and stuff is just like it's fine, but it's just very like it doesn't feel natural for this game.
I would say like as far as the gameplay goes, the timing for parries is really good.
Yeah, I still have not gotten that system down. The combat system is really good, but there's a pretty big learning curve to it. And I can't seem to get the parries down. I keep on pressing the freaking L2 instead of L1 button to parry. I'm just like, wait, no, wrong fucking,
Can you change the control?
I don't think so. I haven't seen any place to change the controls in this one, unfortunately. But no, I like the combat better than the first game for sure. Yeah, I think it just flows better. So there's that. I like the weapons. The weapons are cool. The modding is still pretty much exactly the same as the first game, but you have more options to, mod the handle, the shaft, and then the tip of the blade or tip of the weapon. So there's more you can put on it that like, do different things. Like you can do shock and fire at the same time, which is cool. That's dope.
That's cool.
I think the biggest issue with this game right now is just the amount of bugs in the game. Now you're playing on PC, right? You got the game for PC? Okay, so I got it for PS5. I think the console versions of the game have more bugs than the PC version of the game, which is usually what happens. But I've experienced some sound bugs, some like clipping and zombies glitching through walls, which is just weird and doesn't like takes you out of the immersion of the game kind of. I think the biggest, most annoying bug that I've seen is this audio glitch where if you're facing off against like humans in specific, bandits or someone like that, and this intense battle music clicks on, how you're fighting them, and then if you die for whatever reason, I don't know if it's everyone, but specifically for me, I guess, if you die, you get respawned into a safe zone, which is fine, but that music stays there. So you're just walking through the safe zone, listening to this intense, hardcore battle music, and it's just nothing you do in the game. You can, regardless if you go to sleep, if you talk to someone, whatever, the music just stays there after that event. The only way I figured out how to get rid of it is to quit out into the menu, then go back into the game. And that's just so annoying, and I really hope that gets fixed. So far, the story is good. Again, it's very similar to the first game in terms of its, ability to keep you engaged and interested. I think the individual characters you meet in the game so far are more interesting than the overall story. The overall story is just a generic missing person, I'm here looking for someone type of story. So that could have been a little bit better. The first game at least was a little bit more interesting because you're almost a double agent, and that was really, really cool. This one, it's just more generic in general, so it's cool. Like it's definitely more personal, for sure. Definitely more personal, which is what they're going for. But it's still like we've seen this story time and time again, so it's kind of been done to death.
I do like the story just because I feel like the most simple stories can give you the most emotional rewards. Where like when you play Far Cry 3, you were just a guy looking for him.
And it was the best story in the series so far.
Exactly. So I feel like the first game would have been the superhero double agent would have been great for this game because of the fact that you can make your own choices in style of factions.
Yeah, that's cool.
It was cool, but the game kind of forced you to either make it. You couldn't make your own choice of whether you on the
Yeah,
side with the enemy, hoarding all the
the
antigens,
survivors or
yeah,
the GRE.
you can't really do much. So
Yeah,
I feel
you're
like,
right.
but at the end of the day, I think this game, not only is the story is more personable, I think it's going to add its own twist because yeah, you've seen these kind of stories in Resident Evil and different games like Resistance and all these other kind of zombie-esque games where you're just looking for somebody, you're just looking to reunite with your
Yeah.
family. Like Days Gone was the same thing. I'm just a grifter out here just grifting. But like those end up being some of the best emotionally rewarding games.
No,
So
I
I'm
completely,
just
I
excited.
completely agree. I completely agree. I think the one thing I like most about like the story aspects of the game are that like all these characters, you don't really know who you can trust and who you can't because they
Exactly.
all just like they all seem like they want to help you, but they all have their own ulterior motives as well. Even the first guy at the beginning of the game, I wasn't completely sold on him, even though the game told me that I had a good connection with this guy. It just seemed
Mhm.
like I couldn't completely fully trust this guy, and I could trust some
Right.
random stranger more than I could trust this dude that I had known forever, apparently. And I'm
Mhm.
just like, that is so interesting. I'm like, this guy is gonna either try to kill me or something, or he's gonna turn randomly into a zombie. I don't know. It was interesting and awesome. I like that a lot. And even in the world, like Hakan seems like he has, good motives, but then he does this weird, sketchy shit in the game that you're like, okay, what the hell, my guy? Like, what were you doing? And I'm just
I
like,
mean,
yeah, that's cool. I like that. I like that all these characters have like they're all like even the factions themselves, it's all just shades of gray, except for maybe the renegades. The renegades are just generic bad guys, but the peacekeepers and the survivors have some dark sides to them, and the peacekeepers are like anti-heroes where they're doing good things or bad things for good reasons. So I love that whole shade of gray and the whole desperation that you feel throughout the whole game.
but I also love that you just trust everybody else as much as they just trust
Oh
you.
yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, I love environmental storytelling, and
Yeah.
one thing that is really shown by that is the way that people react to you coming into the world. You're not only a foreign entity, but then you also have these zombie freak out. So like nobody's
Yeah.
really willing to trust you or give you the time of day. So you're gonna have to not only prove yourself to yourself that you can do this,
Hmm.
but prove to them that you're an asset, and also they have to prove to you that you are worth being an asset to them. So it's very much a back and forth, and I really
Yeah.
appreciate the
It's
hard
cool.
nature of most of the characters. You could tell that something happened, and you can even put together what happened to these people just from the intro of the game and when you first start, and the
Yeah.
premise of the game in general. The heart and the look in their eyes, the bags under their eyes,
It
the
all just
worn out
feels
sunken
real
face.
and tired
Yeah,
and
it
yeah.
feels very real and lived in. And like then you get this compassionate guy that
Yeah.
takes a chance and helps you out, and it really makes you want to believe in him and who he is and his cause and everything.
I
And
agree.
it's really much a great testament to the way they've improved on their facial animations,
Oh yeah. It looks
animations in
great.
general, and even to the testament of the first real powerful cutscene, the way it panders around, the way it kind of shows you the antagonist, but does it in a certain way
Yeah.
where it's just like it builds up that anticipation. I think they really wanted to double down on how hard the story hit with subtle things of the tranquility in the beginning, the erosion in the middle, the way the graphics have this like erosion for the metal, everything's decayed away,
Yeah. The world reflects the people. Like that's one thing that I found
Mhm.
interesting that like everyone in the world everyone in the city is infected no matter what. Everyone's already infected.
Yeah.
And the world reflects that. Like the world feels hostile. But certain parts of the world also feel inviting and relaxing. But in general, I think the one thing I think the story gets really, really right that the first game didn't is the fact that you're infected and you have to deal with that shit. You have to
Right.
manage your infection so meticulously. Where the first game, you're infected, and the only time you felt that infection was in the story bits of the
And
game.
story
Like,
cutscenes.
yeah,
Yeah,
story
and then
cutscene. That's
this
it.
one,
This game, you're infected. You have to monitor that shit. You start off with 5 minutes able to survive in the dark without UV protection. and that makes going out at night more difficult, more risky, but also way more rewarding because all these places, all these areas are now open and able to explore because all the zombies are walking around. Volatiles are not as big of a threat anymore, which I appreciate because they basically made going out at night impossible in the first game.
I do agree that I personally didn't go out at night in the first one because of how impossible it seemed. But I also like that because it added to the intensity. I had already made a conscious decision that I was going to go out more in this game.
Yeah, exactly.
If it was going to be, but
I mean, this game there's more of a reason. There's more of a reason to go out at night besides just XP boosts. The first game, the only reason to go out was you got more. You got more experience from running in combat. In this one, there's actually areas to specifically explore at night. That give you so much more things, better things, awesome things.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely true. But I also feel like the first game had the tenseness of night more and did it a lot better way because of
for sure. However, the first game was also like at the very beginning of this, outbreak. Like the very beginning of it, not the very beginning, but like it was like a year or two into it. Whereas this one is like what they said, 25 or 15 years after the fall.
Yeah.
So like they've learned how to deal with, they learned how to maneuver, deal with night. It's not as daunting anymore, which it makes sense. They're not just going to live in fear their entire lives. They're going to find ways to deal with that shit.
I mean, it's not as daunting, but like they can also quickly evolve. They could have kept the tenseness with they could have.
I mean, I think the way they kept the tenseness is by having you have to maintain your immunity at night, and you only have 5 minutes. So I'm still terrified to go into these dark enclosed structures where I can't get out and get to UV light immediately if I start dying or turning into a zombie. So that I'm still like hugely like anxious that I'm like, fuck, okay, I only have 5 minutes to run through this entire building. Am I going to be able to get out? You have some like things that you can use to boost up your immunity, like mushrooms and inhalers and stuff. But if you don't have those, you're screwed. So I think they did a really good way of keeping that intensity, but making it more manageable.
I think that's what added to everybody's testness of Dying Light 1 and why they loved it, because they were more.
It was so unknown. This one isn't as unknown. It's more, just something you have to deal with. Which it just makes sense, and I kind of like that.
In the first game.
Oh my god, yeah, seriously.
My favorite thing right now, I would have to say, combat and story. The way that the capture animation that is done for the human beings and the zombies, the way they interact when you hit them,
Yeah, that's cool. You feel it. You feel that shit.
Yeah. They have improved that so much, and I think that's probably my favorite aspect. Parkour, I've not been the biggest parkour fan, but
I think it'll get better once you upgrade your parkour abilities and stuff like that, and you get more maneuvers and that kind of thing. So I think it'll get better then.
I was saying parkour in general.
Fair enough.
Parkour. I'm not the biggest parkour game fan in general. Dying Light has put me onto parkour games, but at the same time, I'm not really playing a parkour game unless it's Dying Light. Yeah, so it's just like if I'm in the parkour game, I'm not going to be like, yo, let me go back and play Mirror's Edge.
Hey, that's a great game. And I think my favorite thing of the game is probably like what I said about having the whole you being infected and having to deal with that. It's probably my favorite aspect of the game. It's a very cool aspect of the game. So many stories nowadays. Like you always play someone who's for whatever reason immune to the virus, and so it's refreshing to see like you're just a dude. Now you are a little bit more enhanced, and the story will explain that further as well. But for the most part, you're a dude who has more resilience to certain things, but you have to still have to manage your own infection and all that stuff. So I love that. I love that a lot. That's one of my favorite things about this game. My biggest thing I don't like about it, and this is not a bug, I think this is a design choice and it doesn't make any sense, but it's the inventory of this game. It doesn't make sense. You go into your inventory and you can see the things you have equipped. You can't see everything unless you click. Like it shows you the top 4 things, that you have equipped all the way down, but you can't see everything. You have to click into like the top 4, whatever one. You click into it and then it drops down and shows you all your stuff. And then you can switch out whatever ones you want. It's very just unintuitive. Doesn't make sense. And this, like, when you go to sell stuff, that interface is even more weird because for whatever reason, it always shows you things that you have equipped and doesn't show you anything you don't have equipped. And I'm like, okay, I don't want to sell shit that I already have equipped. If I have it equipped, I don't want to sell it. I want to sell the stuff I don't want to use anymore, even though you don't get a lot of money for that stuff. And it doesn't let you. Like, I can't sell any of my old like weapons or shoes or outfit equipment or anything, which is another cool thing they added is outfits and stuff, which I love. And I guess the rest of the stuff you just either drop. You can't break it down. I don't know if that's in the progression tree or not, but you can just drop it to get rid of it or just throw it into your player stash. So I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I don't like it.
It might be something that you can change in the future, or it might be
I don't know.
Another gameplay thing, because I haven't seen anybody talk about it. And if that was, so maybe it's something that might change in the future.
This game launched in a very good state. There's a couple random bugs, but nothing game breaking, nothing that's gonna like deter me from having a great time with the game. Because I am having a fantastic time with the game. I love this game. It's a ton of fun. I don't think it's as good as the first game so far, but I think it's going to get better as I progress into the game. Yeah.
So the one thing I do hate about this game is that when it comes to PC, at least, doing co-op structure game. That's one thing I really. That's one thing I really.
I think that's a crossover, or I think it's a cross-play hurdle that they have to fix. Not so much. Because I don't know if that happens when you're just doing PC to PC or PS5 to PS5 or something like that, or if it's when you're doing like PS5 to PC or Xbox or something like that, is when that corruption happens. I'm not sure.
Yeah, but I don't want to risk it at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to mess with it until. Then again, I don't have many friends who have this game besides you, so I'm not worried about it yet.
That's probably my only. That's probably my only caveat. But like, I would say, like, as far as games coming out the last 3 years, it's sad to say that that you have to praise the game for coming out in a finished state. And they had the balls to delay it if they needed to. They've delayed this game like 3 times.
Oh yeah, it's been delayed a lot, personally, I think it could have been delayed just one more time until like Q3. I would have been okay with that, but for the most part, I think it's a solid game. I think it's a lot of fun, and the bugs that are present in the game right now will likely be fixed very soon, and they're not at all game breaking. It's not a cyberpunk scenario, so I'm happy with it. That's our first impressions review of Dying Light 2. It's a great game. Needs some work, not perfect, but no game is perfect for the most part. I think it's a game that you definitely should play if you like the first game specifically. This game isn't gonna break any barriers, rewrite or redesign the wheel or anything. But it's fun. It's a ton of fun. But guys, let us know what you think about Dying Light 2 if you've been playing it in the comment section below. If you haven't been playing it, let us know what you think about what we've been saying and if what we said convinced you one way or the other to buy this game. Let us know all your thoughts in the comment section below, and we'll respond as they come in. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please hit that like button. If you're new to the channel and not subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell so you get notified whenever we go live. We're also going to be doing more live streams of Dying Light 2, Ollie Ollie World, Sifu, so much more in the weeks and months to come. So be on the lookout for all those right here, over on TikTok, over on Twitch, over on Facebook. You can also follow us on Twitter as well. So we are everywhere. Go follow us everywhere so you can stay up to date on everything in the gaming world. Thanks so much for watching. Stay excellent, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.
Woo! Peace out.